Okay, so we have one last story, and I wanted to save the biggest one for last. Another Disney story, another Marvel story. They're just in the business all the way around. So, um, this basically says that Scarlett Johansson, she's done with Marvel, and she is done playing Black Widow, and she has been in quite a few movies. Of course, speaking of Disney, speaking of lawsuits, speaking of everything else, she was in the much embroiled lawsuit from Disney a couple years ago for Black Widow. And by the way, she won that lawsuit as she should have, and she deserved it. And Bob Chapek tried to pull a fast one on her, and that was that. Nonetheless, it was we waited way too long to see a Black Widow movie. We did, and that was a fact. It should have come much sooner than it did. That being said, she's done with Disney. She's done with Disney. She's done with Marvel, and she's done with the whole shebang. So this comes from the Hollywood Reporter, and she says that she's done with Marvel films, and there was not Gwyneth Paltrow, however, does not rule out a return, which of course, she has not been in a Marvel film since um, really Endgame. At the Endgame was the last film that she was really in. So here's what it says: this. The time of starring in Marvel films has come to an end for Scarlett Johansson. During an interview with Gwyneth Paltrow on the Goop podcast, the two actresses reflected on their time starring in Marvel films and shared whether they'd return to the MCU in the future. Paltrow starred in the 2008 Iron Man as Pepper Potts and went on to reprise her role in the Iron Man sequels and Avengers films, while Johansson debuted in Black Widow in Iron Man 2, later on starring in the Avengers film as well as the 2021 Black Widow. Doing Avengers was so much fun. I was like 26 years old. I was single. It was fun, Johansson recalled starring in the first film, just describing it as a quote, adult summer camp, end quote. Paltrow shared the same sentiments, calling it, quote, fun to be in something that resonated so deeply with people culturally, end quote. However, when Paltrow asked whether Johansson was done with Marvel, the actress confirmed the, quote, chapter, end quote, has come to an end. I'm done, she says. Chapter is over. I kind of did, I kind of did all that I wanted to do. Also, coming back and playing a character again and again like that over a decade of time is such a unique experience. When Paltrow credited Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige for being, quote, good at all that, end quote, Johansson agreed. He's such a lover of cinema and storytelling, he really is a fan, she says. When Johansson asked whether Paltrow was done with Marvel films, Paltrow said she couldn't rule out a return given her character never died. I mean, I think so. Didn't die, so they could always ask me to come back, Paltrow said. I think you might come back at some point, Johansson told Paltrow. To which Paltrow quipped, really? A 64-year-old Pepper Potts? How great. 100% that's happening. I could see it. They're never going to let you go. Break out that wig, baby, Johansson added. Johansson's Black Widow died in 2019's Endgame, but has returned in the standalone prequel Black Widow. The release of Black Widow was delayed amidst the pandemic, when the film was simultaneously released in theaters and on Disney Plus. The actress filed a lawsuit claiming the film had been guaranteed an exclusive theatrical release when she signed her deal, and alleged that the contract was breached when the film was released on the streaming service. The complaint also stated that Disney had made no attempt to redo her deal. At the time, Disney countered that Johansson was paid $20 million for the film, which she should have. Johansson and Disney eventually settled the breach of contract lawsuit over her pay. I am happy to have resolved my differences with Disney, Johansson said in a statement at the time. I'm incredibly proud of the work we've done over the years and have greatly enjoyed my creative relationship with the team. I look forward to continuing our collaboration and for years to come in the future. Okay, let's talk about this real quick because it's important to it is good to see that she's finally done. She's walking away on her own terms. If Paltrow comes back, if Gwyneth comes back, then she comes back. I think she's done too. She just doesn't want to say it. Um, I think that being said, we have female stars right now in the MCU, in Miss Marvel, okay, in Captain Marvel, and a bunch of other, strong women characters that I think would really do well and is going to do well. That being said, I think that, I personally, I'm glad that, you know, Scarlett Johansson actually got what she deserved. She should have gotten 20 million for Black Widow, as she did. Um, fact is, she shouldn't have had to go through that lawsuit. Had Disney just paid her, it seems to me, and I could be wrong about this, but it seems to me Disney is very, very stubborn. They never like to admit when they're wrong, and it always costs them more money. Whether it's the Victoria Alonso thing we were talking about at the top of the show, or the Scarlett Johansson, whatever it is. And it blows my mind, instead of getting out in front of it, to just say, hey, look, we'll pay you. Sorry that we had the inconvenience. But when you have Bob Chapek, and I'm not going to go on a tangent about it, but he was an idiot. He was an absolute idiot, and he deserved to get fired, and they deserve to pay. That all being said, I love Black Widow. I think if I'm being honest, I think her being a redhead for me, I think that's her best. That's her best. I think this shot on the left here, I love this. I love her as a redhead. Love her as a redhead. Even in this other shot here in the white, I love her as a redhead. Blonde, okay. The Avengers shot is fantastic too. So, but not so much as a blonde. Anyways, that's just me being me. But I think that it was good to have a run. We have more female stars. Um, I don't think Gwyneth is going to come back. That's just me, you know, speculating. But I can't see her coming back. But she had a great run, and she made a lot of money doing it too. So, I mean, that's the other thing too. So she was in quite. She was almost in what? She was in 6, 7, 8 films. So, I mean, I would love to know. We'll never find out. But her getting paid for. I mean, for the 2 scenes she was in, or 3 scenes she was in Endgame for, I'm sure she got a very good paycheck for. And so, anyways, but yeah, so Scarlett Johansson is done, and we have other stars. So let's celebrate them too. But also let's celebrate the brave women there that actually did something and really started the MCU. When you think about it, because at that time, Gwyneth was in the very first Iron Man movie in '08. Okay, and we see Black Widow come along a couple years later. So, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is the only one that really clean up for that, but that's another thing for another time. Anyways, what do you guys think? Um, which Black Widow did you particularly like? Was it the one in Endgame? Was it the one in Winter Soldier? Was it the one in the Avengers? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll get back to everybody.